All right, welcome back. Some midweek gamery now. Tonight, an old favorite, fake news or not fake news. So I'll toss out some statements and the panel will tell me fake news or not fake news. Pretty straightforward. So back with us, our most excellent panel, Denny Salas, Democratic strategist, Dave Martin, NTD senior sports reporter and election data analyst, and Chris Bob, NTD's political correspondent. So first up, federal officials are pushing to get the Trump arch done before the president's term ends. According to documents posted this month, the plan is to work on the construction 20 hours per day year-round, with hopes to complete the project within 2 to 3 years. So here's the statement. The Trump arch can be finished before the president's term ends. Let's start with you, Chris. Fake news, not fake news.
Not fake news. Here's one campaign promise that is concrete, quite literally. No, I think he's the builder. You know, he wants to get it done. His reputation's tied to it. He probably wants to put his name on it, but it's probably not going to happen. But I think it's going to get done. I don't want to go through all the things. Bob the Builder says he's going to build it.
All right, Denny.
Fake news. The only way this thing gets done is if you have immigrant construction workers come from other countries to come and help out, like you have the line being built in Saudi Arabia. It's the same thing. You're not going to find American workers that are going to be there 20 hours a day that's going to crank this stuff out. You know you're going to have to rely on actual immigrant construction workers to get this job done. So is he going to allow?
Do you think he deported them all?
I think he's going to have special H-1B visas to get these folks in to complete that arc.
So it is not fake news.
We'll see. It's fake news if he doesn't.
Right. Dave will be the tiebreaker.
Not fake news. Trump's been, constructing buildings since 1976. I guarantee if they're falling behind, he's certainly going to put some public pressure on them to make sure this gets done. I mean, this is what Trump does. He does this all the time. He's got very high standards. I think he's going to make sure that this gets done.
I thought you were going to say he's going to go in and start building it himself. We might see that. You never know. All right. So the latest development after the turmoil with CBS's 60 Minutes team, Lesley Stahl, one of the program's correspondents, telling the New York Times yesterday that Paramount CEO David Ellison, who owns CBS, promised her that 60 Minutes would have editorial independence. Here's the statement. 60 Minutes will retain its editorial independence. Denny, let's start with you. Fake news, not fake news. Fake news.
Is there anything more indicative of why people don't trust media than the media reporting on the media? And just like focusing on something that's happening internally, like within your job itself. I'm like, this is not addressing at all the concerns of everyday Americans. We're talking about 60 Minutes. All these guys are millionaires. Anderson Cooper walking out. Well, how much does he make? Like $50 million a year? And he's a Vanderbilt. So I'm like, these are like things that honestly just don't matter. Fake news.
All right, Dave.
I am going to say fake news. If this were true, Scott Pelley would probably still, be with CBS with 60 Minutes. I mean, Barry Weiss, she runs the show there. She does real journalism. Actions speak louder than words. I think if that were true, Pelley would still be there. So, fake news.
All right, Chris.
The question is if they have editorial independence.
That they will retain editorial independence.
Fake news. And I think Dave was confused. No, here's why. Come on, she just saw someone who said he was going to murder the place go out in chains, basically, were carried out of the building. I think she's worried about her job, so she'll say anything. Yeah, it's going to be great. She wants to retain the bucks that Danny was talking about, and I think that's why the statement was made.
All right, well, another one. So we've been talking about President Trump walking out of Sunday's Meet the Press interview with NBC's Kristen Welker. So despite that disruption, President Trump did agree to reschedule the interview with Welker, but her reasoning to convince the president to stay has made headlines. Here's Daily Show host Jon Stewart saying this. Let's take a look.
But this is where Kristen Welker nearly undoes all of the good work she did with one of the worst pleas in the history of journalism.
Mr. President, let's please, I traveled all the way to Wisconsin.
You can't leave, sir. I was in business class. Business. Mr. President, please, Wisconsin, Wheel of Fortune is on an hour earlier here.
All right, so the statement is, this is the worst reason Welker could give to ask the president to stay. Dave, fake news or not fake news?
Not fake news. I mean, she acted like she was doing, President Trump a favor or something like that. Flying. I would fly to Iran to do an interview with Trump if he granted it. I mean, that whole thing was so silly. It was very hilarious how Jon Stewart planned it out.
All right, Danny.
Look, not fake news. I agree. Look, I've traveled to 42 states across our country. Wisconsin has amazing bison burgers. I'm not even lying. They truly do. So, yeah, I mean, look, why? Just like if that's the line you're going to use, I'm like, why are you complaining?
She obviously didn't think this through before.
She did not. And I don't know. But the thing is, you knew that when she was on a flight to Wisconsin, she was saying to herself, oh, why am I going to Wisconsin? And then it came out during that interview.
All right, Chris.
Fake news. Here's why. I think it's fake news because I can think of like 10 worse things you could say to the president. I won't name them. But basically, extending an interview based on mileage reimbursement or whatever that, I mean, it's very weak. I think if she wanted to save the interview and keep it going, she should have said, no, next we're going to talk about all your accomplishments and start listing like the stock market and stuff like that. Would have kept him in the chair.
All right, next time we'll have you interview the president. Let's shift to a health topic, a little different here. So COVID-19 changed many people's way of living. More people have adapted to remote work. So a new study published in the journal Science found that working from home is bad for people's mental health because of a lack of human contact and spending too much time alone. So the report says this increased their mental distress. Any fake news, not fake news?
Not fake news. I mean, I think it's very true that when you are in isolation, that you don't actually get better. You don't have healthy relationships. I mean, look, everybody that works here, right? They're in person. They're learning from their own peers. That's stuff that you miss out. Then one of the other problems that I don't think it's actually mentioned in this report, I know it's not, is the lack of career advancement because you're not actually working with others. So yes, working from home may be great short term, but for your long-term career and all your other health benefits and mental benefits, absolutely a disastrous thing.
That is what a separate study was saying on why people aren't getting their jobs. Not yet AI, it was that they're working remotely. Chris?
Yeah.
Fake news. Working from home might be bad for your health, but sometimes working in the office is bad for your soul. It really depends on who your coworkers are. Maybe you're in a room full of tyrants and you can't wait to get out of there. People will say something like, oh, during COVID, this was the test. Everyone was home and there was high divorce rates because everyone's stuck in there and they're working from home. At least if you're on a Zoom meeting, there's a mute button. Sometimes you gotta just bear through it. So I say fake news.
You can see you had thoughts, Dave. You're in the same office.
I'm gonna go not fake news. My last job, I worked in finance, and during COVID, we were for like a year and a half. I would come in 1 day a week, work from home 4 days a week. It seemed like a great thing at first, of course, but then after a while, it gets very lonely. I was like, I was surprised how badly I missed it for sure after a while. Then you'd come in the 1 day a week. It would take me like an hour to get down the hallway just because everyone wants to talk with you. I mean, you could tell everybody missed, seeing everybody so much. So I would definitely say not fake news.